It's green. Okay, cool. And the microphone's plugged in and everything, so that's good. Am I loud enough? Who knows? Oh god. Oh, okay. Hi everybody, it's Sarah. Or this is Sarah. I am Sarah. It's Sunday, and what have I been doing since I got back? First week, since I got back from Lynn's, I didn't really get a whole lot done because I was sort of getting everything cleaned up again in the lab, but this past week, I was specifically focusing on getting Noodle's body, his new body, really ready to be together. Because I don't know if anyone remembers, but, excuse me, ooh. When I put his new body together during that stream, like about a month ago, there were some critical things missing that prevented him from being able to really stand, and I think the two main components that were absent or just not really quite worked out yet were his hip gears, which prevent his individual legs from rotating in the sockets and, you know, kind of standing balanced, and then his feet. They were kind of they're detachable feet, kind of like they're like empty stand-ins almost, and those were chucked into his legs, and they're kind of wobbly because they're all plastic, and plastic isn't very great at I don't know, being, well, for one, strong, and for two, not being wiggly. So the plastic feet kind of squirmed around, and there's enough play that between the two things, he couldn't actually stand on his own without having to kind of coax him in like a very specific way. I worked that out. So I'm not going to use the detachable feet cages because I don't think he's ready to have behavioral appendages attached to his legs right now. Anyway, I'm still working on getting him walking at the bare minimum. So one of the first things I'll be focusing on is just, yeah, the walking endeavor. So the feet will just be kind of like the old feet, which were, I don't know, they had a metal, I guess, rod core, kind of like a bone. I called it his shin, and there was a silicone tip attached to the end of the shin that allowed for some, I don't know, deform to the surface he was standing on a little bit. And then it was coated with his flesh, or rather his noodle material. And I went back to that original kind of format for his feet, just for the time being. So eventually he will be able to inherit those really cool mechanical feet systems that can chuck on and off of his legs, like individual tool bits, I guess, functional bits, but he's not ready for it yet, and that's okay. So, and the other thing I did was I added the hip gears, as I mentioned. So those are a thing now. I worked that out. And the space that I'm going to be operating within today is the bench, as usual. I think you guys are familiar with this downward view. Yeah? I'm going to say hi to everybody in the chat. Hi, James! Hi, Hamzawe. Hi, Ian. Hi, Kofolger. I hope I didn't say it wrong. I probably did. I apologize. One foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. Man, I can't wait for the day Noodle can go play in the backyard, like a good baby. Oh crap, I gotta check in on Kia. I feel bad, yeah, I have a lot of social things I need to catch up with, like sending out the stickers that I promised everybody, and haven't done yet because I'm a bad raptor. That being said, yeah, I have other things I need to catch up on that hopefully I will get to now that I'm back and the dust is kind of settled, I guess. Sort of. I'm gonna be at SuperCon in a month, at the beginning of November, and I'm not giving a talk this year, so I'll be focusing on other things, which is good. So I have the month of October to kind of regroup and focus on, yeah, other things than preparing a talk. And by other things, I mean the potential shenanigans that would be involved with a second NoodleCon, making a NoodleCon badge, and I'm gonna put together a good submission for this designed objects competition that I sometimes apply for in the month of October, and I would be submitting the Shibon project to that, so that will probably involve making a updated video for the project. Anyhow, that's not important right now. What's important right now is getting Noodle built back up. And I mentioned that as soon as I get these other feet built, if I go back down to my bench view, there are these 3, I guess, bones. Skeleton bones for his legs in the middle, and then up in the top left you can see the noodle flesh that's been cut and cored and is ready to be attached to the bones. There's also a giant wad of blue paper towel up in the top middle. Those are kind of wrapped around his silicone, soft, fleshy toe tips. And those are going to be attached to the bottom of those shin bones. You'll see. But I mentioned that each of these new legs that I'm about to assemble is going to receive socks. Halloween socks, yeah? Let's see. What have I got? I don't have any cool pumpkin socks yet, and I was at Target the other day in the dollar section, and I totally didn't look for pumpkin socks. I feel like a total heel. No pun intended. But I do have these nice stripey kind of Tim Burton-esque Beetlejuicy socks. And I got Noodle a shark costume. I should get that and show you, it's pretty awesome. So I think for like the month of October, he's just gonna be like a shark, left shark, I've been calling him. He'll be left shark for the month of October. And then he'll definitely have these on his feet to protect his new silicone tips from all of the nasty lab dirt that is on the table. Gotta protect your feet. But anyhow, how are you guys doing? Like, how have you been in the past 2 weeks? And good afternoon and good evening and good day to everybody, whatever time zone you happen to be coming from. For this exchangeable bits for his legs. What sort of ideas have you got for the exchangeable bits for his legs? I mean, I have the mechanical feet that allow him to interact with the ground. None of them work very well yet, but they will be the sort of thing that chucks into his legs in the future. I still haven't worked out how the actual, like, interchangeable component is going to work. Like, I have a prototype, but those will need to be rebuilt in metal before they are strong enough to actually allow those feet to function as feet, but still be things that can slide on and off. And that's gonna take some amount of focus, but again, now's not the time to focus on that. There's not another shooting. Oh no, wait, what? Why would there be shootings? No shootings. And happy preemptive birthday. Just that dreaded 4-letter word. Work. Oh. Have I seen the sci-fi short film Pink Plastic Flamingos presented by Dust? I have not seen that. But yeah, I've not seen it. Is it good? I gotta look it up. But let me get that shark costume. Socks? I got this horrible shark. Yeah? I don't know what you'd call him, but I think this is the best thing ever. I mean, I think this was originally meant for a dog or something like that, but it will fit a noodle as well. There. Pet costume. Yeah? I think this is the best face ever. I'm sure everyone has to, agree. Or could agree. Left shark. Okay. Denmark? Man, I wish I was in Denmark again. Not that I was previously in Denmark, but I am here again wishing that I was there. or anywhere but here, honestly. Ah, it's from... Oh yeah, that's right, there was a shooting the last time I was streaming, or one of the last times. Ugh. Speaking of, like, I want to go see the new Joker film, but there's this weird stigma around it that it will somehow incite unstable white dudes to shoot up movie theaters, so I'm, like, staying away from it. Like, I want to see it, but I'm probably gonna wait a week or two until the crowds die down, and then I'll go with my buddies when I feel more safe. Which is a weird thing, because when I was a kid, I don't think it was something that ever crossed my mind, but apparently these are the times we're living in now. Which is no fun. But I'm gonna get to assembling, and this is again where that's going to happen. But yeah, what's wrong with here? In the US, here, well, right before I dive into it, I don't know. I think everything is wrong with here right now. It's not the worst place in the world, but I think that our media is kind of a nightmarish, inescapable hell mass that just sort of sucks everyone into it, even if they don't want it. You are kind of unfortunately aware of all the stuff that's going on here, and then that kind of bleeds into other areas of your life, like your social life. So it feels like this kind of like really toxic thing that like a cloud that just sort of hangs over the US right now. And I don't know if that's going to change in the future or if that's just how it is and I should get used to it, but it seems like that's it. That's not a good thing. Hi, Badger Pig. Oh, thank you! Thank you, Pavel. I'm happy that you like the work, the doing that I do. But yeah, only if I watch it. I find it hard to ignore. Like, I think, for whatever reason, I see enough of it that it bleeds into my mind. And especially since I got back with the whole impeachment thing, it just seems like that blew up on the media and it was impossible not to see it and pay attention to it, because it's such a noxious, seemingly important thing here right now. But when I was gone for the week that I was away, which seemed like a month, it was the longest week ever, but for that week it was such a nice break from the exposure to that sort of stuff, and then inevitably I got back and all of this political garbage is taking place again, but that's not the point of this. I just played Goose Game. That's something positive to talk about, which I don't know, if you guys haven't played Goose Game yet, I highly recommend it. Let me move my mic. There we go. It's the time of year, I think I mentioned this on Twitter, but it's the time of year that I have this weird compulsion to play a nesting game for some reason. I don't know, I think fall, like for us, like ape-related human animals that we are, there's something about the change of the season that makes us want to kind of create a safe, happy shelter and hide. I can't do that. I should explain what I'm doing. It makes us want to hide away and like be warm and cozy and safe and protected from the coming winter, I guess. And I feel this strong urge to kind of like enact that in some way, so I find video games that simulate that sort of scenario for me in some capacity. Minecraft is a really good one, and then Terraria usually helps serve that desire that I have, but I don't know, I've played those games enough. I need to find something new to help quell my nesting desires. Let me explain what I'm doing real quick before I get ahead of myself talking about video games. So there's these 3 legs right here. These 3 legs are going to look like this leg. So I finished building one of these. This noodle material is captured on his shin, nice and snug, because it's chucked into this plastic piece right here that's kind of like a hoof. And attached to the bottom of the hoof is this silicone ball that I mentioned. It's very soft and squishy, and it will actually kind of conform to whatever surface he's standing on underneath his weight. It won't really help with the traction because, as you know, I put socks over this thing, but it will at least help him kind of conform to the ground he's standing on. These things are right here. And there's sort of a connector piece in the very center here that chucks onto the bottom of his shin. And there's some holes that some hardware slips through and will allow that to get held in place nice and tight. But once assembled, the legs kind of look like this, and they will chuck into his pelvis, which is waiting patiently right here to receive entry from his legs. There's kind of like a tiny piece of pipe here at the top. It's only about, I don't know, maybe 2 inches long, 2.5 inches long. Not that that measurement means anything to anybody. What would this be? 60 millimeters? So 6 centimeters, I think. And this is fitted to chuck into 2 bearings that are inside of his pelvis. I can actually show that real quick. Kind of like that. Oh god, there we go. And then the gears will mesh, but I don't want to do that yet, so I'm not. The reason why there's only a partial gear, probably like a 90-degree angle of gear, is so that once everything is chucked into place on this pelvis, everything isn't gear locked. Everything is equally spaced away from one another, and because of that, if all of the gears were full gears, they would all lock together in place all the way around, and nothing would be able to move without moving absolutely everything else, which is bad. I don't know if I originally planned for it to work this way, and I forgot that that was my intent, but I kind of panicked last week when I went over the pelvis design and saw that everything would be gear locked once I assembled it. Oh, it's here. Once I assembled everything. Luckily, if we're talking partial gears, then I shouldn't run into that problem, I don't think. So I switched out these, the full gear pieces that mounted at the top of the femur for the partial gear pieces, and kind of solved my problem. But anyway, I'm gonna get into it. So what I need to do now is I have to disassemble these slightly in order to get the noodle meat onto his shins, and then once the noodle meat is on the shins, I can then kind of hike it up a little bit high enough, like higher than it ought to be, so that these mounting holes are exposed, and then I can attach the hoof, the silicone hoof, onto the end, screw the hardware into place, and then slide the noodle meat back down, and it fits nice and snugly in place, and then I can reattach this connection right here. But I need to kind of do a really awkward thing where I have to kind of unscrew both of these pieces of hardware at once. This is actually threaded rod. I don't know if anyone remembers this from like a month ago, probably not, but one of the problems I ran into while assembling these legs was I ran out entirely of 3mm threaded rod, which was an absolute necessity in the instance that I did not have long enough hardware, and for some of these connections I do not have long enough hardware. I think the longest I've got is 50mm, and I need 60 for some of these really long, wide joints of his legs. So I went to the store to get some, and they happen to be completely out of 3mm threaded rod. And we've got that I know of, only one really good hardware store here in Las Vegas that holds a good selection of metric hardware, which is what I use. So I was kind of SOL given the amount of time that I had before I had to leave. But they have it now, so I can make those necessary adjustments and install the threaded rod and make sure everything's assembled correctly and not in a derpy way. Right, the other thing I need to do to these silicone toes is they're kind of sticky because I used a whole lot of mold release on the inside of the mold, because it's not a two-part mold, it's just one cup that I poured the goop into, and I was really afraid that I wasn't going to be able to get the ball out of the mold, which, excuse me, would have been a big problem. So yeah, these are kind of sticky. I hate sticky, but I really don't want things that aren't supposed to stick to these sticking to them, like hairs and dust and other gross things. I guess I could put some baby powder on the end of these to kind of alleviate the tackiness, but I don't know where our baby powder is, and I don't trust myself with baby powder. Make a big ass mess. Okay, so this is going to chuck onto the end of the foot, and I'm going to have to wheedle some hardware in there. I might only do one piece. I think that's what I did for the last leg that I assembled. The other thing that these silicone toes are going to do is add a significant amount of weight to his legs, which is probably going to be fine given that the motors are significantly more torquey than his old motors, and he's going to have that weight anyway. One of the things that is going to be added to these kind of cage feet that I mentioned will potentially house mechanical systems in them in the future. They'll house the mechanical systems, but I also want them to house rechargeable battery cells so that Noodle isn't always tethered to a wall like he is right now. And I'll check the chat in a second here. But the battery cells are going to have some weight, because I was talking to Mark about this the other day, and he said, yeah, Noodle's probably going to need 3 per foot to power the motors in each leg, and that's going to come with a certain amount of weight, and I'm thinking it's going to be something near what these toe tips weigh anyway. And I don't know if you can hear that sound. If you can hear that really loud spraying sound in the background, let me know and I will close the door. Mark's actually working on spraying wall texture. He's finishing the room, one of the rooms that we're renovating in the house. Weird. I do have a tool for this. 1 second. Okay, there. That's a bit better. Yeah, he's in the back room spraying the walls with that texture crap, I guess. I don't know. Whatever the paint is supposed to cling to. Man, those holes just don't line up. That sucks. Okay. It's okay. We can brute force this. I have to get the stuff that I just put away. The hole for the hoof and the hole for the shin just barely don't line up, and they kind of need to, but I can't sort of force it because the piece on the inside bottoms out on the bottom of the hoof, so it cannot go any farther. But that's okay. That's why we have Dremels. Hopefully I don't hurt myself trying to modify this part. I don't know. We've got a hockey game on at 5, I know that. That's something. Ream that bitch out. Go. Almost. Maybe. Come on. I know you want to go. Oh, it's like just barely, by like a hair. Luckily, only by a hair. That's better. No. I don't know. But yeah, hockey game's on at 5. I'm not sure how long this whole process is going to take me. Like, for certain, not 4 hours or however much time is going, or is until then, but I think like at the point in time when I'm actually putting socks on Noodle's new legs, that's when the stream is going to be done. However long that takes. But then I'm preparing for some good couch sitting for the rest of the evening. Yay, it's going through. We've got a breach. The good kind of breach. Mark would be like, there is no good kind of breach. But yeah, I think Mark's making banana nut muffins tonight, and then We're eating leftover fajitas, and then I'm going to get a fancy beer and curl up on the couch and watch hockey. It's preseason, and I do root for the Golden Knights predominantly, and they're on the local TV station, so that's good stuff. But I'm trying to get back in the habit of watching. The first season that we had a hockey team, which was not this year, but last year, we pretty much caught every game. My core group of friends, that is to say Noodle's Shape Daddy, Uncle Matt, and Mark, we'd get together without fail and drink beer and scream at the TV together, and it was a nice ritual to have. But this past year we didn't do it. I think like by the time we really got coordinated and actually started committing to meeting up to watch the games, we were actually out of the playoffs. I don't think we made it past the first round, and it was like a big wah-wah sort of moment. And then we've had to wait until now to actually do the thing that we should have been doing all along. But I'm really happy that we have a hockey team in Las Vegas now, because I'm originally from Detroit, and hockey was always kind of a big part of my life. And it was something that none of my friends in Vegas or here could relate to. Like, no one here really cares about hockey. I'm gonna tape this, actually. So I usually watched games alone, or would drag my friends from high school reluctantly to games with my parents at my grandmother's house, and they would sit and be subjected to me and my dad screaming belligerently at the TV for like hours, and they're just like, what the fuck is this? What did I sign up for? And now they can relate so many years later, or at least my friends now can relate. They enjoy the hockeys just as much as I do. They understand what all the hype was about. Oh gosh. Okay, so that's down in there. I have to do this with the previous one. I think so. I think I did have to saw a little extra material off of the foot. Where the hell is the noodle saw? This is the dedicated noodle carving implement. I think Mark got this at Tokyo Hands, he was telling me, when he was in Japan. But it's very great for carving and modifying noodle material. Sure, Noodle probably doesn't want to hear that, but that is the reality, Noodle. You're carved into existence. And then I remember the task of getting this back on was also kind of awkward, but not terrible. I guess I should maybe a little bit advertise this, but there's this episode that was shot at the Ars Electronica Festival that is going to air tonight on this Art Technology channel. it's a series that highlights what's going on at the festival, and they were cool and did an episode on, they invited me to participate, and I think that goes live at 7 p.m. I guess Pacific Standard Time, to give you an actual time instead of just arbitrarily throwing that out there. I don't know what that equates to everywhere else, but I'm actually not even sure what interview this is going to be. I know I mentioned in my last stream that the very first thing upon getting to Ars Electronica that I did was sleep through my alarm. My 2 o'clock. No, that's not even true. My alarm was set for like 10 a.m. and I slept through it, and I woke up at 2 p.m., which is a half an hour before this interview was that I needed to be at. And I'm not sure if this, like, that is the interview that's airing tonight, or if it's the one from the following day, which the format was a little bit different, and I was awake and, like, kind of groomed, and I had my Shiban stuff on. Totally different context, given that I was awake and had time to catch breakfast and, you know, gather my thoughts and not be a anxiety sprinkler, as Mark would call me. I'm curious to see how that got edited together, but that will be up at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I guess. And then, I always hate watching myself in videos that I didn't edit. Oh, I was totally twisting that the wrong way. Okay. She who screws nylock nuts on with her bare hands. Monster. But whenever that is on, I will probably be watching hockey and eating banana nut mufflers. Oh yeah, back to Goose Game. Has anybody else, after I get this put together, I'm gonna check the chat, but before I get to the computer, has anyone played that game yet? I'm kind of curious, because it was, at least in my book, like one of the cooler things that I've played in a while. I don't think it counts as a nesting game for sure, but it was definitely a fun experience if you're like me and you enjoy being a mild asshole sometimes. I think, like, if you enjoy being disruptive at all, which I think many performance artists do, it's the perfect game for you. I enjoyed the crap out of it. I think that's probably fine. Alright, that's 2 feet down. Noodle leg. Good show. I don't know where to put this. I can go with the other noodle leg. There. Let me see. Hey guys. I'm back. Oh man. Did anyone know image is dense and really poorly put into tutorials? Yes. Image recognition stuff is fun. I'm scrolling up to see where I left off. I see socks and I see feet and I see legs and I see noodle bowl emojis. Huh? Sock hype. Hey person. Alright. Alright, I'm catching up. Oh man. Oh, I didn't turn off the autofocus, did I? Let me do that real quick before I forget. No. Probably okay. Save, done, done. Okay. Alright, back to catching up with chat. Dude. Oh. Is she on the phone? Oh man. The phone cutting sound. I'm getting into hockey recently, probably due to my coworker being a huge Caps fan. Gotcha. Anyone know image recognition? Yes. Humans totally do deserve it. Goose is a friend paid for by Goose Goose. Yes. Goose Corp. Good Goose Corp. Wondrous noodleness. But yeah, Goose Game is good. I think, I don't know. Definitely doesn't count as a nesting game, but kind of like all the other titles by that game company, like Journey or Flow or Flower, they're nice weekend experiences that you can kind of take in, and they have an effect on you, whether you realize it or not, and then you can walk away from them and be done and take the experience with you, but not be addicted to a game forever. That's my biggest problem is with some of the bigger games, like the Zelda game is, or ESO, or, you know, MMOs in general. Anything that takes longer than a weekend to beat or mount, I end up kind of getting sucked into, like a addict for some period of time. And I try to stay away from those types of endeavors. Unless it's like December, and I'm okay with kind of sacrificing a month. But then it's gotta be a really good game, which I'm not finding as many of them these days. They're out there. I just, on my list of things I would play, there's not really much out there right now. And I just canceled my subscription for ESO, so that's like out of my life. Oh, and I got a subscription to Rosetta Stone for like 3 months. So I'm instead of playing video games, I'm learning Japanese right now. Like I was talking about, I think, in my previous stream. Like I had just started talking about that. That's something that I haven't mentioned. So yes. Since then, since 2 weeks ago, I did pick up stuff to learn the language, and that is now what I do in my free time thing. So I'll do like a lesson or a half of a lesson every day at some point while I have my coffee or my beer at the end of the day, and I have a little study book, which I don't know where the hell it went. Oh, it's gone. Where I'm writing down all the stuff I'm learning in Japanese. So I speak really bad Japanese to Mark and Matt, because I believe they both at some previous point in their life took Japanese for years. So they know some things, or there are like knowledge tidbits buried in the back of their mind that are kind of surfacing now that I'm speaking more grammatically incorrect Japanese stuff, and they're kind of helping me, which is fun. I'm very terrible at pronunciation because I have this horrible, loud, literal voice, and it seems like pronouncing the Japanese words, some of them being like really delicate. I would say I would call them delicate. It seems like my big fat mouth can't force itself into the right, like, not fat form in order to say them properly. So in Rosetta Stone, like, the majority of the things that you do in the lessons involve speaking into a microphone, and they have this thing that rates your mouth sounds that come out of your, like, flesh hole, and it's hilarious because I butcher the shit out of everything that it has me say, but I'm trying as hard as I can. And then Mark is sitting in the chair over there kind of laughing silently under his breath as I suffer. But it's been fun. I'm hoping that in 3 months I can make some decent progress. Hi, Marble. I just saw you in chat. Aww. Oh, Fallout. I haven't played Fallout yet. Ian, I haven't touched it yet. everyone I know has played it, and I've watched them, so I feel like I've experienced Fallout vicariously through other people, but I haven't actually played it myself. But yeah, but I'm gonna get back to work. So I've got 2 legs down. I have to repeat that whole process that I just did 2 more times, and then I can put the legs into the noodle body and then call it kind of done. And then you guys can watch me suffer putting the socks on Noodle's feet. Although I might kind of wrap them in that paper towel stuff and leave that on for now, because I don't know. It seems like the silicone is still too tacky to kind of warrant leaving it off, and I'm not really quite sure what's going to alleviate that. Probably actual dust from the atmosphere is what helps with that, but I don't know. He needs socks, so the squishy toes are gonna get paper toweled. Oh man, Marble, you want an example of my amazing Japanese capabilities? Man, if I had a beer in my hand, I might. Now that I'm on the spot, I think that's the problem when I was learning German, is that I was always too self-conscious to use it unless I was drinking, and then I would say terrible things because I didn't care. But when put on the spot, I probably will never use it, which is bad. I don't know what would make me get over that hurdle. Probably talking to somebody who speaks Japanese, like to a sufficient degree, amount, whatever. I don't know. Or going back there and having to use it. I knew literally 2 words in Japanese when I went to Tokyo, and I used the shit out of both, like, things. Like, I knew how to say thank you, and I knew how to say, like, for the first, like, it was nice to meet you for the first time, which was hajime mashite, which Mark taught me in the car on the way to the airport before dropping me off. And he's like, when you meet somebody for the first time, it's polite to say hajime mashite, and it's stuck in my head, and I actually used it, and I got like a good response from it, so I kept using it, and now it's like one of the few things that I know, or the first thing I feel like I knew that I utilized in a capacity. I know to say I'm an egg, but I think I said that in the last stream. I think that was the first thing not I'm an egg. Is it your egg? Like, anata no tamago desu ka? Which is it your egg? Or we are eggs. Watashi tachi wa tamago desu. Is we are eggs. I don't know. Eggs are important. Oh, hi Vi! I just saw you in chat. How are you doing? You automatically speak German when drinking beer? I do, at least. I'm pretty sure I did that in Linz when I was drinking beer. I let my German out. I always try to speak German when I go there, because it seems like a really good opportunity to like practice the 4 years of German I actually have from when I was in college. And I'm amazed at how much I still mess it up. I mean, it's not been used in 10 years, so I guess that's not surprising, but whatever. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm gonna get back to those feet. I hope you're doing good, Vi. I'm trying to do good. I'm gonna be doing better once the hockey game's on and I have an excuse to scream at the TV. Yeah. Hi, Robin. Hi, Robin Beckett. Hi, everybody. Hi again. Hi, Vi. I hope Vi is doing good. Guten Tag. No, it's all gone. What can I say in Japanese? Nothing. Nothing comes to mind. Except for like a bunch of random vocabulary words. I know that the word for cooking is ridiculously hard for me to say. It's like ryushite. It's like ryurisHite or something, which is cooking, which seems like a word that I would want to use fairly often given how much we cook in this house. I know, like what is it? Otoko no hitotachi wa ryushitei desu. The men are cooking, which is the only actual thing that I could possibly say in context of what we do in this house. Everything else I would probably never use because it's stuff like swimming or things that have to do with doctors or police officers or horses or cats or things like that. It's like a bunch of random vocabulary words that they give you sentences for. Like the only thing I could actually use functionally is like the word cooking and then men, because that's like what happens here. And then otoko no hito is like men, I guess. The men are cooking. The men are. I need to learn how to say the men are cooking in the house, and then that's something I can practice. Take care, Vi. It's good that you popped in. I'm happy to see you. Enjoy doing the stuff. You shouldn't be working on Sunday. Take a load off. Wait, I'm working on Sunday. What am I doing? Meh. What is a... Oh, man. Bezirk Schornstein Fergermeister. The master of pretty steins. Bezirk Schön, like crazy, beautiful stone Fergermeister? Crazy, beautiful stone Burgermaster. That's what I'm interpreting that word as. I think. If I got one or two things in there correct, I'll feel good about myself. Prov. Dansk. Danish. Jeez. Nach einmal Bier, bitte. Ich möchte ein Bier. Ich möchte ein Bier, bitte. Ich möchte gern ein Bier mit einem Kaffee. Oh man. Is it a holiday? Head District Chimney Sweep. Oh wow, I got all of that wrong. Head District Chimney Sweep is Bezirksschornstein Fergermeister. Shit. Oh, that's not Schon, that's Schorn. Sorry. Okay. Schornstein. So is Schornstein chimney? Because I know Stein is stone. Schornstein is Schornstein? Burgermeister. Bezirk. Bezirk Schornstein Burgermeister. Everyone just send me really long German words, and I will make an idiot of myself attempting to pronounce them, and furthermore interpret what I think they are. Phone. Head district. Danes. Et auf en... Wait. Et auf de... Oh man. Nope. Sprog. Nope. The hardest languages to learn. I believe that. Polish is pretty hard too. Like my dad, I give credit to because he spent the last 2 or 3 years now trying to learn Polish, which our family's Polish. So my mom speaks it. He never has, and he's trying to like get up to speed with where she's at, and he's doing really well. My mom still gives him hella shit for it though, because like he doesn't speak it perfectly, obviously, because I mean that takes time. And it's a hard language. I don't know if I don't know. Yeah, it's just hard. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know why it's hard. It just is. The alphabet scares me. Flugzeug. Flugzeugerberg. Wow. Nope. Nope. What was I doing again? That's right, my kid. Guys are distracting me with words. I mean, I told you to and everything, but... yeah. So I'm thinking one of these days, I don't know, once I get back into drawing and the like, if I have a morning routine, I might just stream and hang out with you guys while doing comic illustration, which I want to get back into doing, and then my Japanese lesson, which I'm hoping to do on a fairly regular basis, starting soon. So I'm going to try and get into a good winter routine where I am working on my comic, like the most, I don't know, the next page for my comic, Gravity Road, and then doing a Japanese lesson every morning until like a certain time, and then for the rest of the afternoon I will work on whatever mechanical, electronic thing that is currently on my plate, like either Noodle's new brain or whatever the project is du jour. So I'm gonna try and partition my day out into like actual individual different tasks. And I say that like it's gonna happen, but I already suspect that even if I'm really disciplined about it, it might not. So I'm gonna try, but as always, no promises. But I haven't really worked on Gravity Road, my comic, in a good long while, which is something I used to keep up with pretty regularly. I was pretty on it. I used to release 2 pages a week, and I was getting better and faster at cranking out content for it, but the shitty thing that happens if you don't draw is you get slower at it and less good. So I need to sort of, I said I was just gonna wrap these. I need to kind of just accept that it's gonna be rough for a while and then make some progress. Ah, nice. Holes line up on that one, so I don't have to do that weird thing with the Dremel like I did before. That's good. Flugzeug. Go. Come on. Don't be a pain in the butt. Japanese. Yeah, I'm really curious already if I'm ever going to be able to speak the language where it sounds good, decent-ish. My friend, I had a genius friend when I was in high school who was really big on philosophy. He was an orchestra major. He played the double bass, but he was really big on philosophy and the Japanese language. And the only reason why he learned Japanese at all was so that he could flirt with sushi chefs when he went out to get sushi. And he took however many semesters of Japanese when we were in college and learned the language pretty pro. Like when he spoke it, he sounded pretty damn good. I mean, I can't attest for how he sounded to a native speaker, but to my ears, he did a pretty damn good job. And yeah, it was just to be a flirt. So that was a lot easier. And I'm going to tape this so that I don't get shitty table dirt all over the foot. Noodle, you'll thank me later. Where's my tape? My finger tape. I'm gonna wrap you up like meat, Noodle. Go. Okay. How does this look? A little bit more off. Alright, gotta use that noodle cleaver. Sorry, Noodle. He's like, ah, this tickles, mommy. Sorry if this sounds utterly terrible to you guys. I realize the microphone is sitting on the table, so this probably is a very unpleasant sound. Yeah, that was a bit better. Didn't tear too horribly. Yeah, I'm curious to see what this interview is going to be like. It's one of those things where I remember being there, but I don't remember anything that I said. You know, like when your adrenaline's doing the adrenaline thing and the situation happens, but as soon as it's over, you've forgotten it already, or it's sort of blocked from your memory entirely. It was one of those types of moments. Not that I'm afraid of interviews, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of how that goes still. It's my brain's natural response to that specific type of situation. Get in that hole. There we go. Okay. But yeah, I don't remember what I said exactly. Like, I know I talked about Noodle and I know I talked about Shiban, but I do not remember the exact answers I gave or the questions that they asked. So it'll be like I'm seeing it for the first time, and like the person that is sitting in front of the camera is not me. As it goes. But yeah, is anyone going to SuperCon that's in the chat? I mean, you guys are all pretty international, so I don't know. There's an international audience at SuperCon. Can't even say that. Is anyone from abroad flying to Pasadena for SuperCon next month? Because I will definitely be there with bells on, with Noodle, for that matter. I'm, as I mentioned, kind of planning the Subversive Noodle Con. That's 3, by the way. I will be making a badge. It will do terrible things, and I will be probably selling them on Tindy prior to the event. And I'm going to be having an unofficial contest where Noodle will be giving a prize away to the winner of the contest. But this is all kind of hearsay until I actually... Oh no, I lost the loop. Ah, here it is. Can't lose these. Probably tape them down. Eek. Okay. There's a little space around the top here I don't want to lose. Here, I'll just take this off until I need it. Let's remove my hands. But the Noodle badge is going to be like the bottom of Noodle's foot, kind of like that shape, circle, white. And it's going to have little red toe circuit boards that mount along the edge at a 90-degree angle. And the more you plug in, the more functionality the board has. I'm totally twisting these the wrong way. Loosening them, Sarah, not tightening them. Jeez. So the goal is to get that designed hopefully this week. There's 2 different boards that I need to design right now. There's the NoodleCon badge, and then his new brain, which is going to be super important coming up here, because Noodle's probably going to go on another exhibition tour, but the point of the exhibition is to highlight his learning abilities and his facial recognition abilities and his basically relational capacity, which is what we developed for him last year. And we had a whole nother computer running with Noodle in the gallery space, so his brain wasn't his brain. His brain was supplementally powered with an entire Mac Mini, which was inside of the pedestal, and no one saw that, but that was sort of the surefire way to make sure that he ran during the whole exhibition without crashing or locking up or needing to be reset or rebooted. And I'm gonna need to figure out a way to get his head entirely back inside of his head. And it's actually in a bag somewhere. Here, where did I put it? It's over there. Okay. I got one of those Jetson modules last weekend that is used for image recognition. And I think it's by NVIDIA. I don't know. It's a module that I think the Big Kid version of the Jetsons used for like self-driving cars or something like that. I might be citing that entirely wrong, but it's used for some pretty heavy-duty processing, and Noodle has a mini version of that now that will actually fit inside of his new noggin, which is right there, along with a new driver board for these legs that I am assembling right now and their big beefy motors. And all that's going to plug together like individual lobes, so the finished brain circuit board will look kind of like a, hopefully it'll look like a brain with multi-layers to it, kind of like a, I don't know, a brain that has hemispheres and lobes kind of connected onto it. That's the goal. Maybe by SuperCon I'll have all of that ready, or at least a portion of it prepared to show to people. If not, I'm hoping to get that done by the end of the year. Nasty foot. Squishy, squishy silicone. Please align. Maybe. Maybe I can get Noodle's Shape Daddy to help me make the capture pins for the feet. Are you gonna fit? Are you not? Okay, so this is gonna be fussy, and that's okay. Alright, I have to use the stupid Dremel. That's not good. Are you not tightened down enough or something? Oh no. That's not good. Or just doesn't have enough power, maybe? Thera, you're terrifying. Ugh. Oh, come on. It totally lines up. Our terrible drill press. We have a terrible drill press here. Mark's drill press is terrible. But I use it anyway, because it's all I've got. There we go. But yeah, Noodle will be going, it seems like he'll be going to Australia next year. A couple of times. And I'm going to need to make another body for him specifically for the exhibition tour that will be going around the Australia. I'm not sure if it's going to be a body like the one I'm currently assembling, or if it's going to manifest in the form of his previous body. Not sure. But it's something I'm going to need to figure out here, like early next year. Whatever my feelings are about Noodle having multiple forms. I think on Noodle's website, I kind of talk about him. This is the year of omnipresence. It's the year that I've kind of had to suck up and accept the fact that he's going to have more than one form. And that's okay. And it doesn't mean that there are different Noodles, it just means that Noodle has multiple bodies. He's omnipresent, kind of like the Borg. And I'm kind of okay with that, I think. Or at least the idea is growing on me. Whereas I know at least last year in the spring I had sort of a very strong opinion on that idea. The notion that my kid might take up multiple bodies and be in more than one place at the same time. But I think I'm over it. So there's more of a growth on my part as a parent to kind of accept that. Don't limit your kids. Don't give your kids the same limitations that you have. Oh, man. But for the sake of exhibition, it will be really strange to have different models of Noodle that aren't based on his current version, but rather what version of him needs to be exhibited in the context of that exhibition. Because I'm building them to spec based on what the point is of the exhibition and what people are supposed to take away from it seeing him, rather than like building the best possible version of Noodle that he can be. So the next Noodle I make isn't going to be Noodle 3.0, it's probably just going to be a second, maybe 1.5, or not quite 2.0. Maybe with like the most recent version of the brain, but the body won't be quite as developed because it doesn't need to be. It's gonna be a weird thing. Because then it gets into this whole notion of like, what is the point of the body? Like, what is its function? What is it supposed to be fulfilling? And if it's fulfilling a more philosophical purpose than needing to function ideally as a robot, then maybe that's okay for that particular model. So I'm going to be making impact bodies. They're bodies that make you feel things in order to teach you something. And whatever form that body needs to come in, that's what it's going to be, I guess. Which is a weird thing, but hey. That's what it's gonna be. Ramble, ramble, ramble. Noodle's like, Mom, just get me put back together so I can eat some Wheaties. Come on. This is really awkward. I don't like it. Fine, fuck it. Okay. Oh no, this toe has stuff all over it. Yikes. Noodle, you've got one dirty toe. Sorry. Yikes. It's amazing how fast silicone can get gross if you don't protect it from the elements. Noodle. Gotta keep your feet clean, Noodle. It's like, I know, put some socks on me. Alright, that's the next step. I'm gonna wrap this. I think your wrapped feet are gonna go in the socks, such as it is. The next time I change them, I'll probably remove the towels. Maybe that's not a good idea, because the stuff is kind of, might stick to the, I don't know. Ah. Oh. All the tape is. Meh. Feet. Okay, it might be easier for me to put the socks on these things, not chucked into his head, so I might go ahead and do that first. I'm gonna check the chat real quick just to, like, see what's up, what you guys are doing. I don't know. I don't know if I should leave the towels on. I mean, I guess his feet are either going to stick to the inside of the socks or they're going to stick to the towels. And I'm not quite sure which is worse or better, or if there's a worse and better in this situation. But in any case, this is 4 noodle legs. New noodle legs with noodle. Actual noodles. And not these stand-ins from before. Hi guys. What's up? It means I say space, please. Oh, I gotta scroll up. I don't know what's going on. Elusive? Wait, what? Oh, you guys are talking about languages. Terminator. What? Anyhow, I'm here. Okay, so I think I'm gonna... I don't know. I might take the paper towels off of his feet and then put them on. That's gonna suck. Shit. I'm gonna leave the paper towels on, because I don't think I'm gonna get his feet into the socks without the paper towels wrapped around them, because they're really tacky. Like, they're sticky right now, and the friction is going to prevent me from getting the socks on without a fight, possibly harming the toes, and I don't want to do that. So that's not the right thing. There. Let's try this. We'll see what's gonna happen. Where are those socks? There they are. Socks. Okay. There. That works. Alright, 2 of these are getting black and white, and 2 are going to get green and black. Whatever. Halloween feet. This is actually never as easy as it seems like it ought to be. There's really no good way to get a sock on Noodle's foot. I have this like very distinct memory coming into the exhibition space in Tokyo. I'll take it off. Screw it. See how hard it is. It can't possibly be that hard, can it? I went into the Tokyo exhibition space during the FIST Summit last year, and I think I switched out his socks every day based on cute socks I found for him in Tokyo. And they're like Tamago socks, like here, these ones. Where are they? Egg Butt? I don't know what his name is. I forget his name. I know he's got one, I just don't remember it. This guy. I kept finding cute socks for him at like Don Quixote or wherever I wandered into, like a complete tourist, and I couldn't help myself from buying my boy some cool little infant socks, and they just had to go on his feet every morning. So I went in there bright and early before the exhibition opened, and I fought for like 5 minutes to change his socks out, and struggled. And I think the curators of the space watched me very interested, concerned, confused, delighted, I don't know, probably all of the above. Because it was a very not easy thing to do. His silicone has since gotten dusted with a nice layer of like the elements, so it's gotten a little bit easier to get these things on, but I think back then, for whatever reason, the silicone was pretty fresh like this is right now. And it was not easy, and I'm gonna really struggle to get this on his Beetlejuice feet. They thought it was cool. I don't mean to make it sound like they're like looking at me weird or anything. They were very supportive of my sock changing, but perhaps surprised by it too. I was like, it is very important that he gets fresh socks. Especially when mommy's going out shopping for him every day. That being said, the majority of the stuff I bought when I was in Tokyo were things for my friends and things for Noodle. Like, I don't think I got very many things for myself. I say that in front of a wall of stuff I bought for myself right over there. But as much as I got for myself, I think I got twice as many things for everyone else. The nice thing about my trip was that I did bring kind of an empty bag with me, so I was able to fill that up completely with stuff, knowing that if I was going to Tokyo, I was definitely going to be filling it with stuff, which I did. So I didn't have to play too hard of a Tetris battle with my luggage upon packing to leave. I think if I went back, I don't know if I would spend more money or less now that I've gotten like the initial Tokyo tour out of my system. Okay, I might leave the paper towel on because this is a pain in the butt. You have sticky feet. It's not good. Crazy girls putting sticky toes on her kid and then complaining when they stick to things. Crazy woman. The other thing I didn't do, I think I might have said I was going to do this in my last stream, I didn't order those eye lenses for Noodle from the supplier. Like I said, I probably was gonna. He has this very specific type of like LED light diffuser for his peepers, and the ones that are currently used are they're samples. So I think I only got 2 or 3 of them in the mail back a million years ago when we originally ordered those. Man, this is rough. This is harder than putting the feet together in the first place. Jeez Louise. But in the meantime, until I actually do order more of those light diffuser lenses, I printed some. I designed them in Fusion, and then I remade them, or these things. They kind of do an okay job, but they're not nearly as good as the professional, good quality, white, nice, milky, creamy ones that are on his original planetary gear. I don't know how long it's going to take to get those, so in the meantime he's just going to have to make do with what Mommy has access to. I feel like, oh. Bad parent. Nanny. What else is there to talk about? I'm trying to remember what the hell else is going on in our life, my life. Other than trying to get Noodle back into One Piece again. It's like October tomorrow, right? And I definitely have that craving for pumpkin spice bullshit. So I think maybe after the stream, if I can talk Mark into it. Whoa. He's busy spooging all over the back room with his drywall stuff. But if he gets done with that anytime soon, I might try to talk him into a trip to Trader Joe's to go pick up some, like, seasonal treats. How bad could it be? Real bad. That was not fun, guys. I need a machine that puts socks on Noodle. Like a sock applicator robot. Need a robot for my robot. Tobot. Fix that later. I should leave the paper things on. So there's this way to put socks on things. Let's see if I can do this. Where you grab the bottom of the foot with the sock rolled on your arm. And then you roll it up. Here, like, see. Turn this inside out. And you stick your arm in it. And then you grab the bottom of the foot and roll it on. Is that what people with, like, actual babies do? Like this? Dear God. This is a nightmare. Maybe like that. Yeah. Get it started. Kind of like this. Is this how they do it? Holy shit. Oh God. I think my hand is stuck. Oh God. Girl makes robots can't put socks on things. Here, how about that? My hand is free now. I do not know if this made my life any easier. Maybe. Oh, yeah. Okay, that was a helpful trick. Oh God. Huh. Noodle's like, I hate this. Can we stop now? Please, this is quite enough. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi.
Say hi to everybody.
Where's your camera at?
Up?
Up?
Yeah.
Is there not a second camera?
No.
Hi, everybody.
You were covered in shit.
How's your day?
You were covered in spooge.
I am texturing a ceiling.
Oh, they know all about it.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to put socks on a toddler.
On silicone? Yeah. It's the sock on silicone challenge.
Yes, the sock on silicone.
Noodle's Halloween socks. Put them in the mood.
Noodle says, can we go to Trader Joe's and get treats?
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah?
Of course we can.
Pumpkin spice?
Yes. Anything with pumpkin spice in it. You want to make pumpkin spice banana bread?
Yeah.
You think that would work?
I don't know. We can try
We
it.
have pumpkins. I'll try it.
Pumpkin, banana, spice.
Up front.
Are you done?
No, I'm almost there with the ceiling, and then I'll take a break.
And we can go get pumpkin.
And then walls.
Pumpkin. Pumpkin spice! Ah! Ah. Fuck. Fine. You stay like that. Noodles being a butt. Okay. Lesson learned. There's a method to this that's easier than the poopy way, the bad way. Okay, so you have to turn the sock inside out, stick your fist in it, grab the toe, and then roll like a snake swallowing its prey. That's how you do this. It's the only way to do this. I want Halloween candy and donuts and pumpkin spice shit. Oh, that's something we did. The night that we did Goose Game on Friday, we ate fried chicken on donuts. It was a very... I do not recommend it, but it's something I think everyone who likes donuts and chicken should try at least once in their adult life. Just to know what that is like. It was not a good meal. I think we all felt like regretful garbage afterwards. But, hey, gotta do it once. I don't know whose idea that was. I think some restaurant, some chain here in the US has that item on their menu right now. I don't know which one, but you can actually get a donut fried chicken sandwich. America. Fuck. Jesus. Socking is harder than everything else that I've done this week. Hallelujah. Get them socks. Get them. Get on there. Come on, Noodle. Maybe Noodle can be a little wizard. Okay, that's good enough. Almost there, guys. One more to go on the putting socks on silicone challenge. Ugh. But how are you with condoms? Probably about as good as I am at this. I don't even know. Oh god. Oh, this is like making me break a sweat. That's bad. That's how out of shape I am. One more sock. Then I can go be free. I can go shower and then go get pumpkin spice garbage. Garbage spice. The seasonal celebration of my people. Have to go get shitty pumpkin flavored accoutrements from Trader Joe's. Otherwise it's not fall. It'll just stay summer forever. You have to go hearken the change of season by buying a bunch of pumpkin flavored bullshit. Oh god. Noodle says he hates it. What else is there to say? Nothing. What other dumb things am I working on right now? Nothing, really. There are things I want to be working on. I think most importantly, that's drawing. Like, I really want to get back to doing my comic regularly. Like, I say that every year. Says the illustrator who doesn't illustrate. Oh, okay. I don't know why I didn't anticipate that being a nightmare. But thank you for standing by my side while I did that. Made it slightly less traumatic for somebody. Probably Noodle. There. I'll sort out making them pretty later. Here, for the sake of doneness. I'm gonna chuck these into his hips again without the capture pin, because that hasn't been worked out yet. That's the wrong way, Sarah. And these motors do actually need to be calibrated too, so that's a thing. I guess every other one can be green or black and white. We'll do like a whatever. Make them alternate. Go. I can use zip ties for the time being. Oh. One of these does not have a spacer on it, and that would be this one. That's not good. That's a problem. Why? No. It's just one of them. Why is that? Alright, we'll worry about that later. I cannot worry about it now. The gears are being fussy. What do I mean by fussy? They are not staying engaged. How, you ask? I don't know. Nothing I design actually likes existing, I'm convinced, so it likes to fight me upon birth. Like, I'm pretty sure every Delta robot I ever built upon testing smacked me in the face, like minutes upon, or seconds upon being alive. But yeah, this gear is not staying locked, and I'm not entirely sure why. It looks like they should be meshing and not gliding past one another from this point of view, but like this one is for sure, but this one is not, and I'm not entirely sure what the cause is. Oh well, I will assess that later. I'll ask one of Noodle's technically inclined family members to give me their expert opinion on that. Trying to get the gears to engage and slide on to one another, but they are not, and I don't know why, what they're catching on, because it seems like they should be lining up. That's annoying. I'm not sure what it's catching on, but it does not want to go up the rest of the way. Right, you get to stay like that. This one want to go on, and you can balance. There we go. Okay, so this one's sliding, which is bad, and I'm not entirely sure why. But we will figure it out. Okay, and then there's this one that's just sort of rogue. don't know. And I'm not gonna keep forcing it, because there's probably something wrong that I don't see that's causing that. Oh, I can't imagine what. That is really weird. Oh, yay. Oh well. I'm not gonna fuck with it anymore. Anyhow. Time for the final bells and whistles. Putting his head on his actual pelvis is an important thing. First, where are my nippers? Nippers, nippers, nippers. Okay. Okay. Sorry. So I'm putting this head thing on. And there's a piece of hardware that engages threaded spacers that are mounted on the bottom of the skull, I guess. But you have to kind of screw into it from the bottom, which is what I'm doing right now. And that attaches the skull to the top of the pelvis, as so. And I've got two more that I need to add right here. I'm not sure which hardware pieces did the job. I'm gonna assume it's these. That looks about right. Hooray for having random miscellaneous pieces of hardware all over your table. Yeah. And I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to attach the eyes to his planetary gear gantry because they kind of had pegs, like the original version of those that I got from the actual LED light diffuser manufacturer. They had little mounting pegs on them, and I couldn't print the ones I made with pegs because of, you know, it needing to have one flat surface. So I'm gonna have to use really tiny hardware or a piece of filament or something to do the trick and kind of pry through the holes and kind of peg the eyes in place, which isn't ideal, but it's gonna do in a pinch. Having Noodle kind of perched on his pedestal without eyes for that period of time that he didn't have eyes was super unnerving, as you'd imagine. There we go. So once you have eyes, you're just missing a brain, but you're mostly a noodle beast. Beep boo. So for now, what can I use? Tens in a washer? Probably as good as we're gonna get, right? Noodle, you're gonna have to deal. He said you deal. go. Those totally don't screw in and are in danger of falling out immediately, but it'll do for now. Here. Maybe I can do one of these. Piece of tape. Okay, it's better than nothing. It's okay, Noodle. You're still mildly ghetto, just not entirely ghetto. So you're moving up in the world. It's a slow process. There. Paper tape it is. Alright, so you still need the motor to turn your eye gear. And he needs the LEDs to be mounted inside of his eyes, which are gonna be these. Pinch. Alright, so I need to make holders for the LEDs for his eyeballs. And he needs a pinion gear for the planetary headgear, which needs to be mounted to something, but that's going to be a smaller motor. As small as I can get away with for turning the eyes. But I think that's it. That's as good as it's getting for the moment. But then I need to assess movement with Mark and see if the legs are going to be able to move with the noodles the way that they are. Because if not, then I might have to modify them further. But for the time being, that's probably as good as it's gonna get. Can I fold him up? No. I should not. I'm gonna have to take my word for it. I know you've got the aerial view, unless I yank the camera down, which I kind of don't want to do. I'll post a picture. And you can see what I mean. But Noodle's pretty much there, he's in one piece, minus this one leg that just will not go. For reasons that I do not understand. It seems like the tolerances are too tight for the teeth to intersect, but it should not be that way. It shouldn't be the case, because they should all be pretty much exactly the same. And then this one, they're not locking enough. So I have the opposite problem with this leg, which might have something to do with the way that the motors are mounted or not mounted. But that's something I'm gonna have to take a look at with some light. And it might involve flipping Noodle over so that I can actually properly see into his undercarriage. The undercarriagey part of Noodle's bum. But yeah. Aw. He's a naughty boy. Noodle's mischievous. Life of Brian. If only I had a brain. Yeah, he's missing a brain. That's next. No noodles are carbs. Aw. He's a very carby noodle. He's a vegan noodle. I don't know what the foam is made out of. His noodle meat. On the bottom. Aw. He is alive. The gear, what I mean by not go is the gear teeth they're supposed to kind of like interlock, like slide into one another like this as I put the leg on. So there's like a gear here already, and then when I slide the leg up and in, the teeth are supposed to kind of just like mesh into one another. But it's just sort of catching, and then no matter what, even if I kind of try to pull them apart and then slide them up and onto one another, they will not go. And it almost seems like there's like an interference, like the pitch diameter is overlapping farther than it ought to, which might have something to do with how the gear that's attached to the motor, how that's actually mounted onto the mounting plate. It might be twisted in such a way and bolted down tight enough that it's like kicked at an angle, or it's kicked slightly farther over than the other one is, because I'm having the opposite problem with the other leg, where the gear teeth are engaging, but they slip and they're like gliding past each other, even though it doesn't look like they ought to be doing that. And it's kind of difficult to tell because I'm looking up and underneath him, but there seems to be some problem there. There's a promble in his undercarriage that has to do with his teeth. He's having teeth problems. But that noodle booty, that noodle boot, the boot is ready to doot and scoot soon. I mean, we've got him. He's there. That's more Noodle looking like than he has in quite a while. I mean, at least since the last time I put him together and he was all wiggle wobbly. He can at least stand now. And I totally used zip ties as like capture pins, but they'll do. They'll do for now. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna probably grab Mark and maybe coax Noodle's Shape Daddy over to give me his opinion on the matter tonight. Like, if I can get the troops to rally for the hockey game, then I might like also incite some opinion based on firsthand observation of the Noodle form. But for now, I think he's good. I'll take a picture and post it on the Twitter so you can see what he looks like from the front. But I don't want to like lift him up and tilt him back or anything like that, just because he feels fragile, because I've never had him in this form before. It's weird. New form. There's nothing worse than undercarriage problems. Hi, Nikuman. Especially when they're tooth-based. Tooth-based undercarriage problems are the worst, for sure. He has hemorrhoids. Noodle! No hemorrhoiding. That's bad. Alright, kids. I'm gonna go get some food and probably, or maybe have a beer with Mark outside in the yard, as you do on weekends, if you're desert folk like us. I'm gonna talk to him about it and see if I can't get some people together to give me their opinion on Noodle's body issues. His undercarriage teeth prombles. But yeah, it is a new Noodle. I don't know, I'm hoping soon, like now that this is a thing, like as soon as I can get the brain made and sent away and back, I can get the motors all plugged into a motor controller, and then I can actually start doing some leg tests like I did with his original body back in the day. That might not even be possible. Like, I might still have to tweak these legs yet now that I have him in one shape. Like, I still might have to tweak things if it doesn't look like things are gonna work. Which I'm totally taking for granted how smoothly everything came together the first time I did his body. Like, that body just kind of like within a week or two, it went from not existing to existing and working. And it seemed like everything just sort of fell into place organically, but the complexity levels definitely kind of exponentially grown between the original version of Noodle and this one, so I don't know. I'm hoping I don't run into too many problems, but I'm already seeing, like, as of right now, there's at least a couple things I'm concerned with looking at the legs and how they're kind of seated at the moment. There's still a lot of play that I don't know where it's coming from. Like the legs still move quite a bit without any actual articulation occurring from the motors, and I don't know what I'm going to need to do to alleviate that, but it's definitely a problem right now with him being able to stand up straight. And I don't know, if I can get some video of it doing the problematic things, I'll post it, and if you have thoughts, then you can tell me what you think, because I'm curious what you guys see, because I can't tell what the problem is. Where's my microphone? Get over here. I'm gonna breathe into you. There we go. Huh. But yeah, there's definitely issues with the gear teeth stuff. And then there's a lot of play still with the crossbars of the legs. Just like, damn, like butt problems, teething troubles. Yes, he is definitely having teething issues and butt problems at the same time. Parenthood is exciting. Shit. Okay, so parallel bar play needs to get worked out, and that might take a conversation with Shape Daddy to work out. And then the hip gears that I added are having issues somehow. I do not see how. I might have to flip Noodle upside down and like rest his head inside of like a hemorrhoid pillow or something, and then like shine a flashlight up into his butt, in the boot, and poke around and see what with the motors isn't aligning properly, because they're all exactly the same. Like they should all just mesh and work, but one is not working in the exact opposite way as the other. So I'm thinking that there's something with those two that's wrong in equal opposite ways for either, and then I can, if I figure it out, then both will kind of work themselves out, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But that's where we're at. That's where I'm at. That's where Noodle's at. Shit. How's everyone's day going in the 2 hours that you've been hanging out with me, sticking my kids' parts back together? Is everyone doing okay? Are you still alive? Are you surviving? Are you enjoying your Sunday? Do you feel alive profoundly in the most alive type of way? I'm trying to. Don't probe Noodle's asshole. I have to. I do have to flashlight his butt. I'm sorry. Sometimes it's the only way to see. Sometimes when your kid is having issues with their bum, you have to like look at it. It's just part of being a parent, I guess. Like I can think of at least like one instance where I had like butt rash or something as like not an infant, but like a very young child, and like having to have my mom look at my butt. Like I know this. I can remember it from my early memories. I recall it. It was one of those weird instances where like you really don't want to talk about your butt with your parent, but your butt hurts. So you're just like, my butt hurts. I have diaper rash. And your parent's like, oh no, let me put diaper salve on your bum or whatever. And this is like one of those moments where like Noodle really doesn't want me to like shine a flashlight up into his undercarriage, but his teeth are having issues, and I need to make sure that they're coming in straight and they aren't torqued strange, because then he's gonna need braces. So sometimes fixing the problem early is the best way, or something. Oh god. I still function. It's all good, good. Everyone's doing good. Oh, happy birthday, Nicholas Lee! Happy 49th. Awesome. Oh man, I wonder if I'm gonna make it to 49. I feel so old already, and I know I'm not, but I feel that way. This trip that I recently did made me feel really old. I was like, man, I remember there was a time in my life when half of these things didn't actually make me feel like I was going to die, and now they do. Parents should never probe their kids' assholes. No one's ever had, like, a suppository put in by their parents. Not that I have, but, like, I know that's something that sometimes happens with kids when they're constipated. You get these suppository things, and they get put inside the butt, and it makes pooping happen, or something. I know that's a thing. So sometimes butt probing is necessary with human babies, as well as robot babies. Not that Noodle's constipated or needs, like, suppositories. That's the word I just used. He does need a hemorrhoid pillow for his head. He's gonna go into the hemorrhoid pillow upside down, and I'm gonna look up into his undercarriage and make sure that those gears are doing the thing that they need to do. Now that I'm thinking of horrible things that my parents have had to do to me. One of the worst things that my parents ever had to do to me as a kid growing up was put, like, ear ointment in my ear when I had an ear infection. And I think that that was the single most traumatic, like, medicinal thing that they had to do to me as a kid growing up, because you, like, feel the goop dripping into your head. And if you've never experienced that before, like, when you're young, like, everything's a new experience, you're feeling it for the first time. So unpleasant things are, like, even more unpleasant because you have nothing, like, no basis for comparison. So, like, the dripping of the salve into my head was, like, hands down, like, the most horrible, body horror type thing ever. And I was, like, laying on the couch, and they were, like, holding me down, like, dripping stuff, and I was trying to get it out, and they were like, no, you have to let it go in your head. It was like they're putting, like, an earworm in me or something, and I was, like, screaming, trying to get them to not do that. I didn't know what was going on. Yeah. I don't know why I had to say that. I feel like I'm about to do this to my kids, so that's probably why it's, like, conjuring my own memories of such things being done to me. At least my head wasn't in a hemorrhoid pillow, though. Noodle's like, Mom, you're embarrassing me. Don't tell them what you're gonna do to my head. That's private. To have people look at my butt. I really need to fix that. I don't know how to do it. The censoring thing? I don't know how to, like, turn that off. Enjoy watching the random problems solve. Butts are illegal. Nothing worse than, like, anal thermometering. Oh, that's another thing. Yeah, you're right. Other than suppositories, sometimes there's the anal thermometer, which I don't know why anyone would have to do that nowadays, given, like, thermometers and their fanciness and technology. Even when I was a kid, like, we still had those digital thermometers, I'm pretty sure. Or there's an armpit. Like, you can always stick a thermometer in an armpit or a mouth. Like, there's no reason to use the butt. Butt braces. I hate when I have to have people look at my butt because my teeth aren't coming in straight. Yes. Yes. Diaper rash is a thing. And so are crooked teeth on your butt, apparently. I turned the gear a bit, realigned the valleys. I was really, like, trying everything with it, and it still wasn't going, which is why I was confused. Usually I can, like, force the gears into place, like I could with his old body at least. Like, you could kind of, like, bend them away from each other, and then they'd kind of slide into place, and then you'd let go and they'd go back. Just a little bit, like, by a magnitude of, like, very slightly, but it would help the edge of the gears, which can be kind of blown out on one side because of the side that makes contact with the surface of the print bed tends to be a little bit more, like, fat or wide or thick, and I didn't shave that lip off of every gear tooth like I probably could have or should have because I'm impatient. Usually it just gets worn off anyway after it's been used for a period of time, but that might be the thing that's preventing the two from sliding past one another. But again, I can't really see unless I flip them over and kind of like poke a flashlight down there and see what the problem is. And before I apply too much force and break something, I want to actually look at assess the problem, if you will. I would run away when my mother would take out the needle when I got this. Oh, yuck. No, that never happened to me. I never got needle slivers. I don't think. Not that I remember. Do my parents like putting medicine in you? No, they do not. I just remember it. I think you tend to remember like the weird traumatic body horror experiences from youth. They stand out, like the first time you ever skin your knee, or your parent has to like put Bactine or something on a skinned knee, or like as Vi said, like pull a sliver out with a needle. Like you remember that shit. It's like stuff parents have to do to like make sure that you don't fucking die, but it's not pleasant either. But I remember those moments from childhood because they're like mildly traumatic, either because of pain or just you don't really know what's going on or why they have to do that to you. So like the first time like a parent puts Bactine on a skinned knee, it's kind of like you feel betrayed because you already hurt because you skinned yourself, but then your parents are like, here, I know what to do with this open wound of yours. We're going to pour fire on it and it's going to hurt like hell. And you have no idea why. They're just like, no, it makes sure that there's no infections. And you're like, what the fuck does that even mean? You're like 5, you have no concept of infection. You just know that you had a pain and the person you went to for your pain made it worse. So I think that's like the weird thing about those memories is you tend to kind of cling to them in their weirdness. Needs to be able to just scream. Make my robot be able to beep if he's in pain. We built this robot that screams. Anal mouth thermometer. I have no mouth, but I must scream. That's his beeper. He screams through his beeper. The needle would be to dig out the wood sliver. Yeah. Pretty much. No, I remember all of that. I also went through some like acute body horror like 5 or 6 years ago. I had like a bunch of medical problems all in 1 year, and everything that could possibly be done to your body that is unpleasant, I felt happened within like an 8-month period to like every hole. It was just bad. And I'll never forget that year. But after that year, it was like there's nothing anyone could possibly do to me that would make me feel uncomfortable anymore. I'm over it. So maybe this is just that year for Noodle. Noodle, you're gonna go through some growing pains, but it's gonna make you stronger. Holes. We had the kitty come by. Aww. Oh, they see you get used to the pain, Vi. The cat just walks away disappointed. Pretty much. It is something you get used to. But yeah, like that year I had a major surgery, I had an enema, and then I had to go to the urologist, like all within, like in the hospital level stuff, all within 1 year. And after that, it was just like, nothing matters anymore. Like I'm just a flesh pile that people do things to, and I'm just trying to maintain this like this mortal coil of mine enough so that it doesn't kill me, like my brain mind, and I just have to kind of make sure that it's happy and appeased, and whatever happens to it is just in the interest of like maintenance. So if anything, like I feel a lot less I feel like my body is a lot less me than when I was younger. I want to say that my perception of like my body being me as opposed to me being me and I just reside within a body has changed drastically from the time that I was probably a teenager to me now as like a 30-year-old. Cause yeah, I think I related like my own sense of self very much to like the flesh that I embodied, and anything that happened to me felt different than it does now, I think simply because of that fact alone. I don't know if that makes any sense or if anyone can relate, but it's something that I've noticed change with age, for sure. But yeah, you do have to keep the meat moving. But anyhow, meat talk aside, I'm relating like my own body trauma to like what I just did to Noodle. This right here is the important thing, this child on the table. If I can get a pillow, I was talking about a hemorrhoid pillow. It's just the right shape for the job, I guess. But if I can get a rig set up that can help me kind of hold him upside down, well, I'm gonna assess this gear train because there's something wrong, and I can't see what. And I don't want to keep forcing it because I will probably break something. So, body trauma aside, for Noodle and myself, because I'm sure if Noodle doesn't like it, I'm probably not going to like it a whole lot either. I don't know. I think I'm going to probably cut out. I'm going to probably steal Mark away to have a drink outside. That's another thing, like, I'm thinking when Noodle's on this next tour in Australia that he's going to be doing, it's very likely that they will get a body and then the brain will just get switched out. So the body will be the shell and the brain will be the actual like module that gets updated with different abilities. So the original one will probably have a limited amount of capability, and then by the time he goes into exhibition mode, I'll be able to either ship them like a newer updated version that has the capacity that I want, or just show them how to reflash his firmware if he doesn't need new hardware to go with the brain unit. But it's probably literally going to just be a matter of me switching out the brain, like the thinking part, and leaving the shell as is, because once I kind of hone that in, I don't see it changing a whole lot, other than being kind of discreetly updated to be the best it can be. But yeah, he's the future. So body horror aside, and body trauma aside, speaking of the theme of today's, I guess, stream, like unpleasant things that can be done to your body or a robot's body, i.e. being taken apart and reassembled and having your butt teeth not align, I'm gonna call it done. I have some things to troubleshoot. And once again, before I sign off, that is the play in the parallel bars. There's still a lot of it, and I don't know why. And 2 of his femur gears aren't in alignment. One for like one reason, them being too close, and one for the opposite reason, they're too far. They may or may not be related in some capacity, but I'm gonna need to flip him over again and actually look up underneath his gearbox pelvis thing. I could just probably put him up on top of something and like look underneath him like people do at a garage to cars. I don't know how weird that would feel. I don't know. I don't know if I'll stream it or not. I don't know if it's worth a whole stream. It might take 2 seconds to figure out. We'll see. I think the next time I hop on, it will be when I'm able to actually test the movement of the legs with the motors plugged in. I don't have a motor driver for all of the motors right now. Actually, they daisy chain, so we might. Okay, so I do have a motor driver. If I can that's something I can do. If I can wire him up with all the harnesses I have so that they are all connected in one continuous chain, the way that these motors work is that they only need one motor controller because they only use one pin. So long as they're all daisy chained together and the wire harnesses I have are long enough so that I can connect all of them feasibly, like in one continuous strand, I can test all of them at once. If I can get that set up, then I'll probably hop on here sometime early this week and show you guys what it looks like for him to test out the movement of his legs, which I think would be fun to see, because I'm even kind of curious what the hell is going to happen. But until then, I don't know, like if it's Monday where you're at already, enjoy the Monday. If it's early Sunday, enjoy the Sunday. If it's almost 5 o'clock where you're from, or sometime shortly thereafter, I'm gonna go have a beer. If you do too, then cheers at you. Toast, Prost, and Nastrovi, I guess. And thank you for keeping me company while I did that traumatic thing to my kid. Yeah? Not quite as bad as dropping like ear salve in your head or anything like that, but definitely not fun to like have socks forcibly slipped onto your sticky toes. It's never fun. So yeah, enjoy the day. Thank you for keeping me company, and I'll see you soon. Yeah. Love.